of humor comes when you apply it to something. Humor applied to health creates wellness. Humor applied to a group creates community. And at the far end, we have the people who appreciate humor so much that they are motivated to also become humor initiators to an extreme. Humor is a powerful leadership skill. At the far end of the bell curve, we have the people who have no appreciation for humor, and what's more, they punish others for using it. I refer to these people as oxygen suckers. They come into a room and they suck the air right out of it. Their goal in life is to be absolutely miserable. How many of you have a young child? How many of you have recently been around someone else's young child? How many of you have ever been a young child? Children naturally live amazed and amused, jumping up and down on his bed, wearing nothing but his underwear and a smile. Swinging his school clothes over his head. He's singing, he's kicking, he's dancing, and I lost it. What do you think you're doing? He stopped mid-jump, grinned a big grin, and then said with the wisdom of Yoda, "Mom, don't you think getting dressed in the morning ought to be more fun?" My first response, no! My next response, no more of Mommy's motivational tapes for you, young man. Okay, 1, 2, 3, stand. Now, while you're facing me, put the shape of a smile on your face, and for the purpose of this exercise, I need to see teeth. I don't care if they're yours. I want you to turn and smile at the person next to you.
If you do this, tomorrow you will be both happy and sorry. Well, the young man was confused, so he tried to get her to tell him more, but she wouldn't. So he went on his journey, and as he was walking along, he picked up a few pebbles and put them in his pocket. And after he crossed the great river the next day, he happened to reach in his pocket. The pebbles had turned into these wonderful, sparkling gemstones. And then he remembered the prediction of the kind elderly lady that he would be both happy and sorry. He was happy he'd picked up the pebbles, but he was sorry he hadn't picked up more. And we all flew into Chicago one weekend, and the first time I met my roommate was then, and she was absolutely amazing. We actually talked almost the whole first night. And that weekend, this group of great MDR team members shared so many wonderful ideas that I was able to both increase my production and increase my free time. They told me that what I needed to do is I needed to block segments of time so I could focus on clients, to have whole focus days, and block other segments of my time in preparation for our meetings.
And please welcome Terry Shodine.
Hi. How are you doing? I believe that everybody sells something, whether it's a product, a service, a philosophy, an idea. Most importantly, when you're selling yourself, everybody sells something. I also believe that we have the opportunity to craft presentations that are classy, elegant, effective, and are not hard sell. Look, we're all here because we want to grow our businesses. We have dreams, we have goals. We want to take ourselves to an entirely different level. But as the old African proverb suggests, you can wish, you can dream, you can hope, and you can pray. But when you pray, move your feet. As a matter of fact, 80% of your time in the field is spent verbally communicating. And yet public speaking is still ranked as the #1 fear amongst most individuals. It's ranked above death, disease, bankruptcy, blind dates, not so blind dates, visits from a mother-in-law, chicken pox, and a whole host of things that professionals would rather do than take an advanced presentation skills course or have their public speaking or presentation skills analyzed and videotaped with playback. Can I see a show of hands? Great, and how many of you found that to be a happy, fun experience? Thank you so much for this information. You're like, you're welcome. And they say, okay, well, we'd like to think about it. And you go, okay, and you walk out the door. But then the first 10 minutes that you walk out the door, they can actually lose, let's say hypothetically, an additional 10% of that information. And they go, oh my gosh, Terry, you know what, we have been so busy around here. We haven't even had a chance to think about it. And we go, okay, no problem. Would you like a little bit more time? We're actually the most brutal of the 4 generations. We are considered the skeptics. So when somebody comes into us and they're about to make a sales presentation, we usually start like this. So finally the moment arrives, the stage rotates and pushes out, all their kids are going absolutely crazy, and to her credit, she has a very beautiful voice. At the end, you would want an encore, so we would hold up a lighter that meant encore, right? Now these kids hold up their phones with lighters on them. From an informative state to a more persuasive state, it always has to be rooted in their needs. Have any of you ever experienced this adrenaline rush before? Just in case you're wondering, I'm having a phenomenal time.
I am pleased to announce that our 2014 Top Quality of Life Award will go to 27-year MDRT member Alan Goldenberg. These special awards represent just a small part of the activities around the world supported by the MDRT Foundation on our behalf. MDRT members, including many of you attending this meeting, have experienced the joy and the satisfaction of participating in one of the Foundation's service projects. And you know, it was one of these service projects that actually changed the life of Don White and his wife Grace forever.
And when John Padilla, a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon who came to volunteer in China, saw these 2 children, he scooped them up and he made these Shambao Tai the first cleft children, the first children really, that have their clefts repaired at a Love Without Boundaries surgical mission. What do you think of his work? Well, at the same time, half a world away, my wife Grace and I are living in sunny Florida, living the dream. I mean, we have a great business, we have a wonderful home, we have a great church, we have amazing friends. Life was good. We simply could not get China off of our minds. While we were there, the former U.S. President Ronald Reagan passed away. We learned that the only reason that Americans can adopt from China was because President Reagan opened that door in the mid-'80s. I'm often asked, why China? I was taught, find a need, meet that need, and never assume anyone else is taking care of that need. Countless Chinese people live today on less than $500 per month. Most have no insurance. For many Chinese people, abandonment seems like the only choice when their child is born with a birth defect. And while birth defects continue to skyrocket in China for reasons I have no idea why, Love Without Boundaries is standing in the gap, making a difference in the lives of young babies and young people like our Sydney and Reagan. They're truly making a difference. greatest dream was to be a dad. But in truth, I dreamed it for me. Fatherhood is not for me. It's for them. You know, one night, when the girls were really little, we were looking at this globe of the world, and the girls realized that China was completely on the other side of the world from America. And one of the girls, I don't know which one, said, "Dad, China is as far away from the U.S. as it gets." Remember that, girls? And I said, "You know, you're right, honey, but that's exactly how much your daddy loves you. All the way to China and back." So now whenever I ask the girls, how much does daddy love you? You say what?
All the way to China and back.
Today's closing speaker is Groom.
And of those 500 audiences, only 71 of them have had more than a third of the people willing to raise their hands and say, "I am a leader." And I think that that's indicative of a society-wide tendency to turn leadership into something bigger than us, to turn leadership into something beyond us, to make it about titles and positions. If at any point during the day tomorrow you feel like you can't do this, we will take you home and we love you no matter what, but we have to try. And before I could say anything, you came out of the nearest building wearing the stupidest hat I've ever seen. And you had a bucket full of lollipops. And you were walking along this lineup of students and their parents, and you're handing out lollipops and you're trying to make people laugh.